Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 281 and you will want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. The entrepreneurs that join me each week reveal steps they took on their journey to success, and these steps reveal a path you can take as well. Today we have Jyotsna Ramachandran, author, book publisher, TEDx speaker, and an international author success coach who helps coaches, trainers, speakers, and experts to build a super profitable author funnel with the help of their book. Hello, Jo.
Hey, Patience. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming. No, Declan, he is anxious to hear your story, but tell us in advance one thing we will learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success by listening to your journey today.
I think the one thing that I can share is how one can publish their book online and use that book to grow their online business.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that.
Sure.
Let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my client a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your own online business?
Sure. So after finishing my education in a business school, I got a job in a retail company. So I worked for about 5 years in the retail industry in India. That's when one day I just got so frustrated with my job. It was not offering anything new. It was kind of getting monotonous. And I had a big fight with my boss. So I decided, let me just quit this job and see if I can try doing something myself. So I did not really plan to become an entrepreneur, but because I had decided to take a break from my employment, I thought, let me use my time to start something on my own and see if it works. And that's how I started my first business, which was into staff recruitment for the retail industry that I worked in. So that was a kind of home-based business, but it was not completely online because I had to go out, meet a lot of people, and it was a lot of hard work. I ran that successfully for 2 years. And that's when the big change in my life happened and I had a baby. So after becoming a mom, I could not focus a lot of my time on running this business and attending phone calls and all of that. So I thought that maybe I should not do anything for a couple of years, or maybe I can start something online, which gives me the flexibility to work at my own pace at whatever time I want from home. So that's when I started to discover what is possible if someone had to work online. I started exploring different opportunities, and I constantly kept hearing this concept of publishing books on Amazon. So that's how I earned my first dollar online, where I published a few books written by ghostwriters, and that fetched me revenue in the form of the book sales, right? The royalties that those books made, that was my first online income. So that's how my journey began about 6 years ago. And then now I have a book publishing company for entrepreneurs and coaches. So it's been a long journey, but that's how it all began.
Wow, what a background, Joe. But I know you wanted to find the flexibility in your life, but why do you do what you do?
I think I want to be a great example for my kids because I feel the generation previous to mine, my mom's generation, especially in countries like India, women spent a good 20 years of their life in just taking care of their kids and not really using all their gifts in terms of their potential. They could do so many things, but they consciously chose to just be a housewife. And I did not want to do that. So I think that kind of gives me that drive to be an entrepreneur, because I realized for me to do all the different things that I want in my life, be a great mom, be a wonderful wife, also pursue my hobbies like dancing and running and traveling. So for me to do multiple things, a job would not really give me that flexibility. So one thing that I did not want to ever compromise on was my freedom. So after working for 5 years and then tasting my freedom for the first time by becoming an entrepreneur, I realized I actually kind of not just realized, but I promised to myself that I'm never going to go back to a job because then I'll have to choose between this and that. I cannot do everything that I want to do at the same time, because I'm reporting to somebody, and even to go on a weekend break, I need to take my boss's permission, which I didn't want to do. So that's what actually inspired me to be a great role model and an example for my kids, and also enjoy my life to the fullest. I felt being an entrepreneur, especially an online business owner, can help me do that.
You seems to have really got the success very quickly. So let's put man aside. How did you know you were successful?
Back then, I did not have great metrics to measure my success. For me, the only measure at that time was if my business is generating more income than my day job. But luckily for me, even in my first recruitment business, it happened in a couple of months. So I did not have to depend on a job. And in my publishing business, I did not start this in a full-fledged way right from the first month. I started by just publishing a few books every month. And by 6 months, I was generating more revenue than my recruitment business. So that's when I decided that this publishing online stuff is really giving me more freedom. So I should not be doing multiple things. If I ran behind multiple opportunities, I'm not going to have my focus, and that will distract me a lot. And that's when I decided to only do the publishing stuff. But from that time to now, my business has evolved a lot, because back then I was only publishing books and generating money from the royalties. However, soon after I did that, in about 6 months, it inspired me to write my first book myself. So far, I was only hiring writers to do it for me, and I would publish it under different pen names. But now I decided to write my first book called Job Escape Plan. And that was like a turning point for me, Patience, because that book made me popular. People started to ask me, "Hey, Jyotsna, I know you're doing something from home, but you are now an author. So could you also help us to publish our books?" Because a lot of people have this dream of writing a book someday. And that's when I realized that instead of me just publishing these random uh, books under pen names, which I was not really able to connect with, why not help people publish their books, because they are already experts in their field. People already have this story or message to share, but they just need the guidance to get it done. And luckily, I already built this team of writers and cover designers and editors. So I just had to put them all together in the form of an agency business model, which was also completely online, and just serve clients from different parts of the world. So that's how Happy Self Publishing was born.
Because I hear some aspiring authors out there, they really struggle for years and years to get the books out, to get the signing or anything. But you are sounding as if this is, you just close your eyes and it happens. It's like magic. So
Right.
how can you help those aspiring authors build an author funnel?
Sure. So it's not as easy as it sounds. Maybe the ghostwritten books were easy because you could just find somebody, put a book together and publish it in a couple of weeks. However, I would highly recommend people not to follow that strategy now. It worked for me 6 years ago because those were not books based on my expertise. But today, when I help people publish their books to help them grow their business, the strategy is very different. The book has to be packed with value, and you cannot possibly put out a book in 2 weeks and expect it to have a good quality. So the process that I follow now takes anywhere between 3 months to 6 months, but it is definitely worth it. So since you asked about the author funnel, let me quickly explain the different steps in the funnel so that the listeners can, get some action points here. So there has to be a connection between the book and our business. Otherwise, you end up spending 6 months, and then what if only your aunt and your grandma buys your book? It's not going to help you with your business. So there has to be a connection between the business and the book. So a lot of times people will uh, write a book based on their passion, and there may not be any connection with the business. So my first recommendation is to write a book for your target reader who is exactly the same as your target customer for your business. So if I'm a productivity coach, and my target clients are busy moms who want to be more productive, then my book also should be for busy moms who want to be productive. So that's the fundamental thing. So once I write the book, I cannot magically expect people to become my clients. So that's where the author funnel plays a role. So the book is right on top of the funnel because that's how people will find me. And then I need to give away something for free as a value added bonus as a freebie inside the book so that I can collect the leads of the people reading my book. Why? Because Amazon is not going to tell me who my readers are. Even if I sell 1,000,000 copies, I will not know the names and email IDs of people buying my book. So it's important to give something for free in the book. So people who are serious action takers will click that link, download that guide or whatever you want to give inside the book and leave their name and email. So that's the second step, the book and the free bonus. The third step is to keep adding more value to your readers inside your own ecosystem. So it could be your blog, your podcast, your YouTube channel. So keep adding more value and continue the conversation outside the book with your readers. And then at the right time, offer them something that they can pay for. It could be your coaching, it could be your online course, it could be a done for you service, but something that people who are not just your readers, but by now they would have become your raving fans, and now they really need your support in executing whatever you're teaching. So not everybody will become your clients, but even if say 5% of your readers become your clients, that's amazing, right? So that's how the author funnel works.
Can anyone really do this, or they have to just to come to you? You are the only specialist in this thing now.
I would be lying if I say that you have to only come to me. People can very well do it themselves. The thing is, to learn any new skill or to do anything for the first time, it will take a lot of trial and error. So certain things can be done on your own. Like if, for example, if a person is really passionate about writing their book and they're good at writing, they should write it themselves. However, if somebody is not really good at writing, but they have a message, then probably they need to hire an agency like ours and work with an angel writer who can interview the author and get it written for them, right? Likewise, there are a lot of other things in the process, like, for example, designing the cover. So if you're an author and you're also a designer, then you may want to design your cover yourself. But if you're not a professional designer, then you don't want to be, wasting your time trying these free tools to design your cover and come up with something that looks bad, because even if your content is great, if your cover is bad, nobody's going to buy it. So for those kind of things, I highly recommend that somebody works with professionals. You can either hire professionals on a freelance basis from a lot of these freelance websites. But again, the challenge is in spending your time posting this job, identifying the right people, testing them, interviewing them. And, it's a long process to get this project together with multiple people. And that's where an agency plays an important role, because you have everything under one roof. So we actually assign an author success manager to every client. So the client doesn't have to deal with 10 different people to get their book project running. So that way it's very simplified and streamlined. And that is the advantage of working with an agency. However, I would not say that this is the only way. There are so many ways to do this. It's just that you need to have clarity on what the book is about and how is it going to help your business.
I know, as I have mentioned about aspiring authors, they have written, some of us, we have like already 100 books sitting just on the shelf or somewhere in our brains, at the back of their brain, waiting to be to be in the world, to be released in the world. So tell us, what is some daily habits can we start really putting together so we can finish our manuscript?
Right. This is such a good question, Patience, because I think for achieving success in anything, it all boils down to our daily habits, right? So some of the daily habits that authors should have is, first of all, a writing routine. Because if you, some people say that, hey, when I get inspiration, I will sit and write. But on most days, you will not get that inspiration. So it's really important to earmark, block your calendar for at least 1 hour every single day for the next 30 days at least. If one can get into that discipline of blocking time on their calendar and sitting at a specific location every single day, because sometimes what people do is one day they would sit in a coffee shop, the other day they would sit on their couch. Please don't do that. I think writing is a very beautiful ritual and it needs to have, given that respect. So please have a particular writing zone. It could be anywhere in your home or your office, but just write from from the same place every single day at the same time. So this is one discipline. The other daily practice that I recommend is to read out your author pledge. Now, what is an author pledge? It is basically your mission statement for your book. Why are you writing your book? Who is it for? And how is it going to help them? And by when are you going to publish your book? If you could write this down as a statement, which I call the author pledge, just frame it or laminate it and keep it in front of you and read it every day before you start your writing ritual. That way you remind yourself as to why are you writing this book. It would just give you that mental power and put you in the right state of mind and help you overcome all these self-limiting beliefs that, hey, I'm not really good and all of that, and make you start writing. So that's the second habit. The third one, which I really love, is having a track sheet to track your progress. So when something is in front of us in the form of a dashboard or a track sheet, it's basically a simple spreadsheet where you can just write the date, the time that you spent writing that particular day, and the number of words you wrote, and maybe the chapters that you covered. So when you have something like that, what happens is you're able to see what's the progress you're making, and on which days are you able to write more, and what percentage of your target have you achieved. So it's a nice way to gamify the whole writing process, and it will really help you stay on your toes. And the final habit that I really, really love is to have accountability built into this whole thing. Because if nobody else knows that you're writing your book, you may not be a great accountability partner for yourself. So you need to have somebody else hold you accountable. So you could either have a friend or a colleague or somebody else who's also probably writing their book or who's working on some other important project. So that way both of you can hold each other accountable on this process. And a bigger way to hold yourself accountable is to just go to social media and announce that you're writing your book. So just post your book's cover, get the cover done first and announce it to the world that, hey, in the next 3 months, my book is coming out. And then the whole world will now hold you accountable. So I think having all these 4 important daily habits, which is having accountability with your accountability partner, having a track sheet to track your writing, and having the discipline to write from the same place and same time every day, and also reading your author pledge. I think these 4 things will really put aspiring authors on the right track.
To me, I'm feeling already pressure because I'm like, if I go on social media and say, hey, my book is coming out in 6 months' time, I won't sleep.
Right.
I will be overwhelmed. So how can you really help us and become over this, overwhelmed and feeling like, oh my goodness, what have I done? I put myself out there. How can we really calm down and ride the ride for the book?
Right. This is such a great question. And I think it's good to have that positive pressure to hold us accountable. But once you do that, now you're worried about how will I do this in 6 months, right? So it's basically, if you believe in a system and you follow it, then it just takes you one step at a time and you will really not get overwhelmed. So it's important that you don't think about the next 3 or 4 months, but just think about what are I going to do today. It will really help you control that overwhelming feeling. So one thing I would recommend authors to do, and a lot of people don't do this, is to first get super clear about your topic and your outline. So to arrive at your topic, you need to be clear about one more thing, which is who's your target reader, right? So if you're very clear about your target reader, what are their problems and how is your book going to solve it, which will help you arrive at your book's topic, then I think half the battle is won, because now you have clarity on what is your book going to be about. Otherwise, what happens is a lot of authors write for a couple of weeks and then they feel disconnected with the topic. They tear their manuscript or they delete that Google Doc and then they start afresh. So that's a waste of time, right? So it's important to spend a week or 2 in finalizing the topic first. And once you have the topic, then you finalize the outline. So your outline is kind of like a roadmap, which will guide you throughout this process. If you don't have an outline in place, again, you will not know what should your book content be like, right? So your book is basically going to take a person, especially if it's a nonfiction book, a business or a self-help book, it will take your reader from point A to point B. But while taking somebody in that journey, they will have a lot of these steps to do to reach there. So one has to do a process of outlining their book by first of all brain dumping everything that you have about that topic on a piece of paper, and then trying to rearrange it in a logical order so that it will take people from point A to point B, and then also removing all the unnecessary ideas and concepts which won't fit into the book. It's okay to delete those things, so that way now you have a logical sequence, and that can be your table of contents. Once you have that in place, it's really easy, because now you know, okay, so today is day 1 of writing, so I'm just going to focus on chapter 1. And that to these 3 particular points in chapter 1. And then the next day, you're going to do point 4 to point 6 in chapter 1. So it's very easy for you to navigate through the process once you have clarity on this topic and the outline.
Thank you for sharing. Tell my clan about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
A magical moment, is it? Well, I think one of the wonderful moments I had was soon after I started Happy Self Publishing. I was thinking that, oh, well, I've just helped a few people so far. There's a long way for me to go. But one day I received a testimonial from Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is a very big name in the
Wow.
self development space. So he is an author of more than 80 books. He's an international speaker. And he came across our work and he was quite impressed, and he sent us a video testimonial of why someone should work at Happy Self Publishing. And with that one video, I have generated thousands of dollars in revenue because it's a great social proof for my future clients, right? So I think that was a magical moment for me. It was so surreal because a few years before that, I did not have the money to buy a ticket for his program. So I was sitting in the back row. I really wanted a VIP ticket so that I could click a picture with him, but I could not afford it. And now, a few years later, I was able to get a video from him. That was truly magical.
You've been in business for a long time. What have you learned from business as a whole?
I think business and self development go hand in hand. So I have been learning about business for a long time, right from my business school, but I never applied those principles. I knew the sales process, all the different marketing channels, the supply chain, HR, all this has been taught in a classroom. But until I really started to apply these things in my business, it really did not make sense. And for me, the time when I actually started to apply this was when I started to work on myself, in improving myself as a person, as an individual. So when the self development happened, getting into disciplines and habits, when that happened, my business also started to grow. So I think business development and self development go hand in hand. And I think that's been my biggest learning.
What are you still doing in the way you work that you just know you have to stop doing?
Stop doing? Uh,
Yes.
This is such a great question. I think I should not open my Netflix account while I'm working. So I used to be, especially once the lockdown started last year, I spent a lot of time watching mindless things online, in all these different platforms. But luckily, last month, my business coach made me create my calendar in such a powerful way that I actually allocate time for this on weekends so that my weekday is not, getting distracted by all these things. So this is one thing that I recently stopped, and I really recommend everyone to stop as well.
As you touched a little about the lockdown, how have you pivoted your business during these times?
Great. This is such a great question, Patience. So luckily for me, my business was always online. So the way I was attracting clients through my online presence did not change much. However, I made a lot of internal changes inside my company. So initially, when I started my business, I used to take a lot of pride in saying that I have 20 team members and all of them are freelancers. So I don't have any overhead costs of paying salaries and all of that. So I was typically running this like, a lifestyle business where I just have freelancers. So one month, if I don't want to work, I don't have to pay anybody. I can just go on vacation. So I was always running the business with that mindset. But after this lockdown happened, I saw a lot of traditional businesses migrating online, and they quickly adapted, and they were running their full-time employees and teams so successfully online with tools like Zoom calls and Slack and all of that. So that's when I realized the importance of having committed full-time employees in my team. So I spoke to a few of my top performing people who've been freelancers, but they've been working with me for a long time. I spoke to them on the importance of giving full commitment to my company and not take up any work outside, because I have huge plans for 2021. And luckily, all of them agreed to work, full time. So I still do have a few freelancers working on, smaller tasks, but I do have now a team of, fully focused employees. And I think that has been my biggest lesson during this lockdown last year.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
One thing that has contributed to my success, I would say, is my habit of setting goals every single year. So till the time I was an employee, I've probably till the age of 25, I've never had the habit of writing goals. Even thinking of my goals would make me feel really uncomfortable because I would think, what if I dream too big and it doesn't happen, So that was my way of thinking. But after I started attending all these self-development programs and seminars and reading these books, one common theme that I kept hearing again and again was setting these audacious goals and going after them. So over the last few years, one of my annual rituals has been setting my annual goals and then breaking them down into quarterly goals and then monthly targets and then weekly action steps and daily tasks. So I think that has really been a game changer for me. So to set a big goal and then breaking it down into doable action steps, I think that has really contributed a lot to my success.
Earlier on, you touched about having a mentor. What is the most valuable thing your mentor has told you?
This is awesome. So one of my initial business mentors told me this statement. He said, when you chase two rabbits, you can catch none. And that was an eye opener for me because back then, while I was starting this online business, and I also had this recruitment business, and in the side, I was running two other businesses. So at one point, I had four different businesses, and the funny part was nothing was actually making me enough money. So at that point, luckily, I met him, and he told me this, and it helped me revisit my decisions, and that helped me to close down all my other businesses and only focus on my online publishing business. So I think that was something that I'll never forget.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
One thing no one knows about me, I can speak 5 languages.
Wow. Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and how can we connect with you?
Sure. I think the best place to check out more about our work is happyselfpublishing.com. So we typically help authors who are actually overwhelmed. They want to write, but they're not able to get it done. So we help them through 3 ways. One is a do-it-yourself online course called Author Success Academy. The second option is where we provide an author coach who will guide our clients to finish their book and then get it published and make it a bestseller on Amazon. And the third option is to actually work with an angel writer in our team who will interview the author, get all the inputs from the author, and write the book for them. So it's completely, hands off for the author. They don't have to do anything when it comes to the writing, but still they can have a book that they can be really proud of at the end of 6 months. So these are the ways we help our clients. So do check out happyselfpublishing.com.
And anyone can join, anyone can contact you, even if someone has just an idea of
Yes,
the book.
absolutely. So I have my team schedule book strategy calls all the time with people who want to know where they are and what can be their next step. So those links are also there on my website. So just go click on any of the call scheduling links and my team will speak to you for no obligation for 30 minutes and give you absolute clarity on where you're getting stuck and what should be your next step.
Thank you. So, clan, there will be more from Joy in a moment. If you are listening on one of the many podcasting platforms rather than my website and you are encouraged by Joy's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for hundreds of additional interviews with successful entrepreneurs. The online success journey is built for people searching for the path to success. And you can be part of this community for free. The online success journey contains amazing members-only audio clips from hundreds of our guest journeys and all designed to help you find the right path for your own online success journey. Joy, your success is amazing. My clients still have a few more questions.
Yeah, I would love to answer.
Thank you. If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
$100, is it?
Yes.
This is such an amazing question. I would probably not spend it at all. I would probably go on podcasts like yours and talk about my business and probably use that money to do a webinar or something to add more value to people and then convert them from the webinar.
What is the best business book you have ever read?
Business book, is it? This is kind of a self-help / business book, which is the one thing.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your handbag every day, what would be written on it?
A note, is it? It would be, you are amazing, because I need that reminder every day.
How can authors land their first TED Talk?
By directly reaching out to the organizers of the next TEDx event in your city. That's what I did. I knocked a lot of doors and some of them opened and gave me the opportunity.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you are only on the
Totally
way?
on the way. I still don't feel that I'm arrived or anything like that. A long, long way to go.
Remind us how we can connect with you
Yeah, do
once
check
more.
out happyselfpublishing.com. There are a lot of free resources like blogs, interviews, a free assessment on how successful you can be as an author. So do go and check all of that out.
Joy, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with
Thanks
us.
a lot, Patience. This was amazing. And you were so patient in listening to my story. And I love to connect with the Online Success Journey tribe.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey, patience and joy.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest and want you to know there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast, and they're only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on your favorite platform to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at iTunes and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share your journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out her course on clarity while you're at the website. Finding clarity is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.